America's greatest homecoming has come a long way from its humble beginnings. In 1920, things were much simpler.
We didn't have a parade, we just simply invited the alums to come back. There was a new stadium at the time that held 3,300 people, and then so they designated a special section in the stadium for the alumni to sit, and then they had a dinner and dance afterwards, and that was all of the activities. They had about 50 alums who came back for that first homecoming. The next year, I think we had close to 75 alums who returned.
How has that homecoming evolved over the last 100 years?
So in 1930, we have our first parade, and now it is opened up to the citizens of Stillwater. And so in 1930, we have 17,000 people then attend the parade.
It was long. It was big floats. A lot of people don't realize that the floats used to have the cars inside the float, kind of more like what a Macy's Day Parade would be. And so they would have huge floats where people would sit on, like our college beauties would be on them, and they couldn't turn. They couldn't turn corners because of the size of them, which is one of the reasons why our parade route is a straight mile long.
The size of the floats made driving a challenge. An even bigger challenge, keeping the designs a mystery. When it came time for construction, students worked in covert locations.
We built it up at the Stillwater Airport at a hangar, and then that morning we left about 2 or 3 o'clock a Saturday morning to get to the parade route.
Do you remember what the design of that float was?
It was the Delta Queen, and so it was a riverboat. I was driving the tractor and I couldn't see, so they would have to tell me, okay, we're getting ready to come to this intersection, you need to prepare to turn right. But yeah, we used walkie-talkies because I couldn't see where we were. And we drove in reverse. I was going in reverse the whole way because we needed more weight on the rear wheels driving that float. That was pretty exciting.
For some, participating in the parade is the highlight of homecoming. For others, it's another tradition that goes back 90 years.
And in the 30s also, living groups on campus also decorated the residence halls and dormitories too. The challenge was early on, when you just had banners hanging from the buildings, and they really began to develop in the 70s as much larger and more elaborate house decorations.
The house decks have kind of gotten bigger and bigger. More and more people were coming out to see them, and at first they were driving around. So for years, people would get in their cars and just drive around and see all the decorations. In '66, it kind of got so big that they parked their cars. They ditched their cars and just started walking. Hence the name Walk Around, because that's what you did.
During deck construction in 1977, an accident at the Alpha Gamma Rho fraternity house devastated the Oklahoma State community.
They would have to physically lift the scaffolding and move it, then to do the next section of pumping. And there were seven or eight guys that had tried to move the scaffolding. And it had tipped while they were moving it. It began tipping, and they overcompensated, and it fell into the electrical power lines that run along Washington Street there. And 3 of the young men were killed almost instantly. But it was a horrendous event.
The one thing about it is the men of AGR have continued to recognize and honor those fallen brothers. They're always recognized in some way because they never want to forget what happened.
In 2015, another accident shocked the Cowboy family.
Just seconds after tragedy strikes in Stillwater. Horrors still fresh, shock growing.
So 2015 will be a day I never forget.
It happened at the corner where the parade floats and the bands and everything are heading north on Main Street, and then they turn on to Hall of Fame. So it was right at that intersection.
So a woman had gone around the barricades on Main Street and drove into the crowd at the end of the parade route. We lost 4 people.
It was just a horrendous sight. A little memorial was developed at that little intersection. It was very sad, difficult weekend.
It'll be a day that none of us will ever forget that we're part of it.
Each year during homecoming, Oklahoma State remembers those lost. It brings perspective to what the celebration is all about.
The joy is of bringing alums back into town. You know, the visitors who come in and see the campus and see the efforts of students and others, that's what's impressive to me.
It's an honor to be here and to be experiencing this and knowing that something has stuck around and that we've been able to do it for so long. It's different, it's changed over the years, but you know what? It's still our homecoming celebration, and we welcome so many alumni back every year, and it just means a whole lot.
For State Magazine, I'm Megan Robinson.